You are who you have been looking for. This is a very famous poem by one of my favorite people in the world, Adam Roa. And this is a poem about self-love. And also, when he wrote this poem about self-love and performed it on the stage, and it somehow got into YouTube, at some point, millions and millions of people were watching it. And millions of people were resonating with this message. Adam has talked a lot about this poem and the impact that it had. And this is how he actually went viral. So that's the poem that opened so many doors for him, but also got him into depression. Because so many people resonated with this, so many people resonated with this message of self-love. And they reached out to Adam because they needed help. And the reason why he ended up in depression was that he didn't know how to help these people. And isn't it funny or even sad how many people struggle with self-love, me included? So that's why this solo episode of Shit Happens is about self-love and about my own specific struggles with it, my own story. This is episode number 14. The previous episodes, all 13 episodes, they are interviews with different guests because I just happen to have so many cool people around me. And of course, the interviews will be back very soon. I will publish once a week or twice a week, depending on how often I can just sit down with people and talk about shift and change and transformations. And the reason why I'm having a solo episode right now isn't because I ran out of guests. No, I have a long list of people that I want to talk to, both in person and online. And I also promise to bring all these people to you. I know so many amazing, cool people who have so much to share. So I really want to share these people with you. When I started this podcast about shift and being the catalyst and bringing change into people's life, I already knew that I have all these amazing people around me that have so much to share. And this is also the reason why I want to bring these people out to you. And also, of course, I love myself. Kind of. I will talk about self-love a little bit later. And I also have some selfish goals with this podcast. Because every time I sit down with one of these amazing people who are the guests on my podcast, I also get a chance to know them better. So it's also my selfish goal to spend time with so amazing, magical people. And I would say this is even an act of self-love. Yes, I'm putting a lot of work into this podcast. I'm editing, I'm making the thumbnail and cover and the description, and putting all the links, putting it up on YouTube and Spotify and via Podbean. I'm also putting it on the many platforms because I want to grow and I want this message to spread. I want to share these people with as many other people as possible. So that's why I am really putting a lot of work into this podcast. And yes, I'm putting a lot of work into this, but I'm also getting a lot out of it. I'm having very deep discussions with very amazing people. And yes, usually we also have deep discussions, but on the podcast level, we can go even deeper. We are focusing maybe like 1 hour, hour and a half sometimes. These are the record podcasts. We are focusing on going deep and bringing value. So we are not just talking about what's going on in our lives. We are also going into you. We are giving you value, bringing out something that you, the listener, viewer, wherever you are listening or watching this podcast, that you could also benefit. And if we approach any kind of topics from that angle, the magic is even 10 times bigger than usual. I love deep conversations in my day-to-day life, and this podcast gives me even more chances to go deep and do it with the people that I love. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this podcast. And like I said, there will be Mew, what's up? My little assistant Mew has some kind of other things in mind. So, yes, there will be guests, there will be a lot of valuable interviews, more and more coming up. But today I want to have the first solo episode, and there will be more solo episodes as well. Because talking to all these people, allowing them to spread their message and tell their story, something opened up in me as well. So I want to share more about myself, about my life, about my experiences, feelings, thoughts, because I feel that I also have a lot to share. And I'm starting with this simple yet very deep topic of self love. The self love is also a topic that has been coming up in the podcast. So, episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, for example, they also focus on self love. So, for some reason, I attracted just these women who turned out to want to talk a lot about self love. It all started with Sharon, who I only met online. So Sharon is 77-year-old influencer. 77. It's never too late. Come on. And she had been feeling invisible her whole life, but after retirement, she finally found the spark, and now she's also teaching other people to find their spark, no matter what the age. So especially she's focusing on retired people and just helping them. And in this way, finding her spark, she also started to love herself. Before that, she was feeling invisible her whole life. More than 70 years of being invisible. This is so sad. And now I talk to her and she's just amazing. She has so much to give. She has so much spark, so much inspiration, motivation. And I'm very happy that I talk to her. And it's never too late for self-love. When she first praised her spark statement in a group, that was the first time when she actually felt heard and seen, visible. And I feel that this is also maybe the first time when she felt this really deep self-love. It's never too late. So if you want to know more about her, check out episode number 4 of the Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations podcast. Then I had Riley, my dear friend, Dr. Riley Georg, who shared a story about how she moved to Barcelona and how she's also working on the inner beauty now, the self-love part. She's an esthetician, so she has done all dental stuff and injections on the face, making women beautiful from the outside. But now she's focusing on the inside as well. And she talked about how to become from shitty to pretty and how to tame your inner critic. Again, topic of self-love. After her, I connected with Amanda from London, whom I know through another community. And she talked about her past toxic relationships and how she got out of that and how she started this journey of self-love. And yes, she's in a very good place right now, but this is still an ongoing journey. Her story is in episode 6. And then for episode 7, I had Maria, amazing photographer who captures the sensual beauty of women. And she talked about self-love in terms of body and new photography and sensual photography. So that's episode 7. But of course, out of all these 13 episodes, there are, I guess all people are in some ways talking about self-love. These are the kind of people who love themselves. And everybody has their own approach. So from this podcast, you can also see different approaches to self-love. It can be routine and discipline. It can be like softer, yin version. It can be anything. But let's get back to me, because this is Solar Insights episode. This episode is about me. It finally gets to be about me. And maybe a little bit about Mew, my cat, my 15-year-old cat, who also traveled to Barcelona with me when I moved here from Estonia. But that's another story. And the story why I'm now returning to Estonia, that's completely next story. I want to start with self-love and come back to Adam Roa. So in January 2025, I went to Miami to see Adam Roa in person I had met him once before in Mind Valley University in Estonia when he was on the stage and I was his mic runner. So I had seen him and experienced his magic once before. And thanks to him, I also wrote my book, Manifest the Power Unlocked, because I was in his challenge in November, December. But that's another story, the story of my book. I have so many stories to tell. I just have to start, I guess. And I went to Miami for his workshop, The Art of Being You. So authentic art of being yourself and bringing this authenticity out to the world and showing it on the stage. And from that event, everybody got this workbook. So this is Adam Roa branding. And the sentence on this book, it says, treat yourself like someone you love. So this is also a line from his very famous poem, You Are Who You Have Been Looking For, that I already mentioned in the beginning. And it's a very beautiful poem. It's the most viral poem in history. And this sentence, treat yourself like someone you love. Let's be honest. I struggle with this. What do you mean, like someone you love? What if I don't love anybody right now? Which is, of course, I care about people, yes. I care about my friends or my podcast guests. And I like people almost all the time, but not every time. But love? I have been divorced almost 5 years. Yes, I have had love in these 5 years as well. I have had some crushes, some more serious kind of relationship-like products, more like situationships, I would say. But I haven't felt this very deep, meaningful connection for a while. So if somebody tells me, treat yourself like someone you love, what do you mean? What do you mean? I haven't felt this very strong, deep love that I had my first boyfriend years and years ago, or with my ex-husband. I haven't had this feeling for a while. And let's be honest, I miss this feeling, this really being connected to this other person and wanting the best for that person. It doesn't mean that I am a codependent or suffocating in a relationship. No, I'm very independent and I'm also very nurturing and supportive for my partner. I'm the kind of woman who helps the man make his dreams come true. And I also expect my man to help me make my dreams come true. Not by doing things for me, but supporting and understanding and really seeing me fully. Because I promise to see my man fully all the time and really understand him. So I miss this feeling of being in love. This crazy kind of love, even like this, just I want to be next to you. That kind of love. I miss it. And because I haven't had it for a while, I struggle with this sentence. Treat yourself like someone you love. What do you mean? My heart is so ready to connect. My heart is so open, available. And I feel that this man, he's close. He's also asking, okay, where is she? Where is she, God? He's also asking, he's also on his way. And I feel he's coming. So, yeah, that's the reason why I struggle with self-love. Because if I'm not with somebody, I kind of lose the connection with self-love as well. Although it shouldn't be like this. Self-love, I should always have it in me because I always have me. I always have me. The thing is that love is often relational. It's towards someone, somebody. So that's why maybe it's hard for me to feel the self-love because I am doing a lot of work on myself, but some kind of deep connection is still missing. And that's why I can't feel this strong self-love. So question for me would be, how can I direct this love towards myself? You really need always to have an external object. And even when I'm doing some kind of love meditations or heart opening and the meditation says, okay, so think about someone you love, like to activate your heart. Do you know who I think about? Mio. So I think about Mew, this one creature that's with me here. And I even sometimes make this joke, maybe I should stop making this joke, that she is my longest relationship so far. She's been with me 15 years. 15. My marriage, that relationship was 5 years. My first boyfriend was kind of 5, but then the breakup was very long, so maybe like 6 or 7. So I've had 2 long relationships, 5 plus years. But Mew, my cat, 15. So that's the maximum. So I even joke about it. But yeah, like I said, love is often seen as relational. It's kind of like having an object. But what if this object is me? How can I direct this love towards myself? It has to be possible. It has to. And what is self-love anyway? Is it like taking selfies, going to a spa, lighting a candle, being very soft? I don't resonate with all this, so maybe that's why I've also been struggling with self-love, because I haven't been resonating with this definition, somebody else's definition, let's be honest. And that's also what society says. For me, it might be something completely different. Self-love doesn't always mean that you are super comfortable. Self-love can also mean discipline, putting yourself into uncomfortable. Mew, come on. Okay. Come. So basically, 15 years. This one. The love of my life, possibly. But yeah, like I said, self-love doesn't have to be comfortable. It can be very uncomfortable. If you love yourself and you see that, okay, I actually need to grow, then you will put yourself into nasty, uncomfortable as fuck, challenging, hard, difficult situations. Ooh, and you will grow. It won't be like, oh my god, I'm lighting a candle and the incense and whatever. It will be, but this is still an act of love, because you're doing this to make yourself grow. And if I look at this kind of definition, this approach, I'm like, okay, actually, I do love myself. I do love myself, right, Mew? Because I am putting a lot of discipline into my life. I'm putting myself through different things just to grow. I invite discomfort into my life because I know this is needed to grow. So this can also be self-love. The way how I love myself is that I prioritize my needs. I put myself first, my needs first, my routine, my sleep, my exercise, my nutrition. So as a nutritionist, health and fitness coach, I know very well how different food works on my body. I have tried many different kind of ways of eating, and now I know what's best for me. And I also have it's not just experimenting, it's also deep knowledge and years of studying and also counseling and coaching other people. I know what I want and what I need. I'm very certain about it. And I give myself the things, people, experiences, food that I love. So this is also an act of self-love. I never skip my gym because I just want to do it. I know it's for me, I love it, and even if I don't feel like it, I still go. And I never regret. Okay, maybe just once. Just like 5 days ago, I was feeling super shit and I still went. And then I left after one exercise and threw up 10 times and had a very horrible headache. I just slept 16 hours. So that happened last Sunday. Yes, that was the one time when I shouldn't have gone because my body wasn't really ready for that. I was going through another episode of bad headache, and that's another topic, but that's a thing for me. So instead of going, I should have just slept the whole Sunday. But yeah, I did end up sleeping 16 hours. 16 hours. Anyway, I prioritize my needs, I discipline myself, and this is an act of self-love for me. Always me first when it comes to health. The only thing, the missing piece for me in this puzzle of self-love, I don't celebrate myself. I don't celebrate myself enough. I'm just demanding so much. I know, I feel I can do a lot. I have this power, I have this energy, I have this drive and passion. And when we look at my human design chart, my willpower is super strong and my identity is very strong. So I know who I am and I have the power to live the way I want to live. But still, when I'm doing a lot of stuff, I don't celebrate. Not even the small wins, not even the big ones. I launched the book on my birthday, March the 3rd, 2025. Did I celebrate? I was like, okay, the book is out, whatever. And I'm feeling that whenever I'm single, alone, I don't celebrate enough. If I'm with a partner, I can just stay in bed for the whole weekend. Of course, at some point we both get out and we go to the gym and we eat something and get some fresh air because we also love our bodies. But I can spend most of the weekend in bed with my partner if I have one. So I can let go, I can celebrate. But for some reason, if I'm alone, I'm not doing it. So it feels like I'm punishing myself for being single. Oof, that's harsh. I just realized this. I don't celebrate alone because I don't have some of the things that I wanted to have. A friend asked a month ago, how far am I, like, percent-wise? And they said, like, maybe I have 60% of the things that I want. And for me, it didn't feel like successful, but he was like, hey, that's quite a lot. I'm like, I don't know, 60%. I'm like, I feel like a failure. I know I'm not a failure. But just the thing is, I always want so much more. And that's why I don't celebrate, and that's why I keep not loving myself. Because celebration is also an act of self-love. Giving yourself a little period of rest is also an act of self-love. For me, this high achiever mentality that I have, naturally, nobody ever forced me to do this. I didn't have parents telling me to do more. I had my father, who died 13 years ago. Rest in peace, darling. He actually told me to rest and slow down and not do so much. But for some reason, I always try to do more. I guess I will also talk about this, why I do so much, why I'm such a high achiever in another episode of Solo Insights. Meow! But the long story short, I might be doing this because this is my core wound, not feeling enough and being rejected by my father before I was even born. But this is another long story. I have worked on this a lot, and he was in my life later on, but still it's like a deep wound in me. And my whole life I've been kind of like trying to prove myself, because part of me believes that I will get love when I'm just doing so much, and I don't allow myself to be. But actually, I'm already enough and amazing just the way I am, just by being present. And I do know that I have like a lot of impact on people, even if I don't say a word. And I'm still not celebrating. That's crazy, isn't it? So yeah, that's some kind of conditioning that you always have to do more, you have to earn love, and even like earn self-love. Because if you're not doing enough, if you're not doing a lot, if you're not this high achiever, crazy ass performer, maybe you can't even love yourself. That's the kind of belief that I might have inside myself. And yes, I am also working on it. I'm always working on myself, on loving myself, and attracting the best partner that I can wish for, or better. Hey, Mew! Anyway, when I talk about human design a little bit, and of course I will have some human design videos up as well at some point, because I feel that I also want to share about this topic. Then in my human design chart, I can also see some of the gifts and gates that actually indicate that I had this competitive vibe. I had this competitiveness already ingrained in my being. So for me, being competitive, even if I'm just competing against myself and always wanting to be better, this is so normal for me. And that's why I always feel like it's never enough. I'm not enough. What's the next thing? And that's why sometimes I don't celebrate, I don't love myself at that very moment. I am healing this, I am going into a better place. And yet, the, it will be like a lifelong journey. It is, self-development. And myself will be with me until I die. So that's why it's a lifelong journey. And just, if I just ask myself, if I do some self-coaching on myself, what would change if I started to celebrate myself? My little wins, my big wins, my everyday. If I started to celebrate just waking up, what would change? You can also ask yourself the same question. What would change if you started to celebrate yourself every single day? I know it might sound corny and like this spiritual woo-woo stuff, and I'm not the kind of person who is standing in front of the mirror and saying, "Oh, I love you, Silja," blah blah blah. I don't feel super aligned with this, but still, what would change if I celebrated myself? I feel that I would put less pressure on me. I would feel less anxiety, and I would actually be even better, because if I put less pressure on myself and allow myself to rest, from that rest, the most impressive magic happens, and I can actually create so much more, so much faster without this force. Be happier. Be happier. What's the purpose of life? Enjoy it, like Adam Roa said as well in one of his speeches. Enjoy life, embrace the joy of living, and yeah, what else is there in life? Just enjoy it, just live it fully, fully, fully. And okay, some more points that I had noted down for this video, for this solo episode. There are some ways I'm actually showing myself self-love, and this might be like some kind of odd ways, but because I'm this type A high achiever, obviously demanding a lot from me, act of self-love is not having a cold shower. I know in the biohacking world, everybody is having a cold shower. You wake up at 5 a.m., you have a cold shower, and then you do some meditation, and you read, and you do exercise, and and breath work. And then you have a coffee 90 minutes after waking up, and it better be bulletproof with a big chunk of butter in it. But I'm not doing this biohacking stuff. I was at some point maybe kind of like interested in it, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the cold shower. I tried. I forced it on myself. Then I was like, I want a hot shower. I don't care. And I have put a lot of pain on myself already. I have finished 20 marathons, started maybe 25. I've done bodybuilding. I've done crazy stuff in my life. And I know how to push myself. I don't need this cold shower that I don't like. So as an act of self-love, I am not doing the cold shower. I know, shocking. If somebody feels like doing the cold shower, go with it. But I also talked about it with my coach. And he also said that, there are like two kinds of people. There are some people that you have to like motivate and push and convince to go and do the exercise and eat well and sleep well. And there are people like me who need to be held back, who need to be taught how to rest. Because otherwise I'm just gonna exhaust myself and push myself and make myself suffer. But as an act of self-love, I'm not doing some things. So in my very odd way, I am loving myself already. Not celebrating fully yet, but still loving myself by not doing the cold shower. And I'm also allowing more rest into my life. I'm also leaving events at the point when I feel like, okay, this is no longer serving me. I got what I wanted, maybe not, and I just want to go now, so I go. So I have this new habit of leaving events early, and this is also very aligned with my human design of being a manifestor, which is another long topic. And you can also read my book about manifestors if you want to know more. But yeah, I'm finally aligning with my own energy and respecting it and just leaving early. And also slowing down a bit, allowing myself to take a nap in the middle of the day if I need. because I know that when I wake up, I can go very productive, and or maybe I don't always have to go productive. I can also just watch Netflix. Oh my god! Yes, I watch Netflix, but for me it's also like I watch, then I maybe don't even watch it for 2 weeks. So it's also like kind of coming and going. It's not that I'm doing it every day. So yes, there are like some ways of loving myself. I am evolving, of course, and I'm always learning more. I'm taking courses, workshops, working on myself, journaling, writing books, and even through the podcast, through the conversations with other people, I'm growing and I'm learning how to love myself more because other people also inspire me a bit. So, what if self love means being softer with myself? Okay, I have been disciplined, and the discipline is also a way of self love for me. Routine is a way of self love for me. But also, for now, I might also need to start learning how to be softer. So let me ask, what is self love for you? How would you define it? Is it like spas and massages, or is it more like this routine and getting up at the same time every day, going to the gym, eating food that is good for your body and you got the microbiome and all that? Or is it more like celebrating or seeing your friends is maybe an act of self love because you really love to socialize? What is self love for you? And what's the hardest part of self love? I struggle with celebration of myself. What do you struggle with? Let me know in the comments. And of course, as usual, follow, subscribe, like. And please also share this episode, the solo insight, with somebody who might need that message about self love. Share it with your friend, mother, brother, sister, grandmother, your partner, your children, whoever needs to hear this message of self love. Please share it. And let's spread the self love, not just love, the self love that is coming from within and that I keep working on every single day. Thank you. That was the first episode of Shift Happens Solo Insights. And in the next video, you will already see me once again talking to somebody awesome that I know and that I want to bring to you. Let's make the shift happen. Let's shift into self love.